Hello, Mr. Byron. Nice to have you on the show again. And we really appreciate that you take your time and join us and give us some of your archery and hunting wisdom. Pass it on to our viewers and followers. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
Hello, Byron. Yes, thank you
Hello.
very much. Hello, Peter.
Hi, Armin.
Yeah, he forgets me always. When he sees you, Byron, he forgets
Yes,
everything
I forget
else.
everything.
I don't exist anymore, so I simply can go, and he would not even realize that I'm not here anymore.
Yeah.
When
That's
he
true.
sees his old buddies. Yeah. Nice. How is everything in America, Byron? Everything good?
All screwed up as usual.
Okay, then.
Politics, what are you going to do?
Yeah, okay. Fine. But family, everything good, so nothing to worry too much.
That's fine.
Okay, that's fine.
Family's good. You know, it's finally cooled off now. Not quite so hot, so
Yeah.
looking forward to getting in the woods and chasing animals around.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask you. The hunting season is starting nice. Well,
Yeah, it started already here with bow and arrow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Started last Friday, as a matter of fact, with the bow.
And
I haven't been in the woods yet, other than just looking around because it has been so hot. It just didn't make much sense. But just yesterday, it cooled down nicely, so I think I'll go out tomorrow.
Nice.
Right.
So the fridge is still empty.
Well, it's still full from last year. I haven't
Okay. So you need another fridge then for this year.
Byron's is never empty. I know his fridge is never empty.
Never empty. He never runs out of. Oh, great. Cool. Really nice to have you back in the show. That was really, the response was very, very, very great of this, of our first show with you, because your wisdom, you know, when we can suck a little out of your brain, that's why you're here now. Really appreciate that.
Happy to share. As a matter of fact, I've already told Peter, but we're doing Become the Arrow, the second edition now.
Okay, cool.
Almost ready to go to print.
Nice.
We added a whole chapter devoted to what's called target panic.
Interesting.
Finally clicked on what it actually is. And it's the same as with other sports. Some sports, they say in baseball, you choke or you blew up. Or in archery, we call it target panic. And I don't know why. Because nobody's afraid of the target. That makes sense. So we devoted a whole chapter to it, and I feel really good about it. I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Great. Is there a release date already?
Do not have the release date yet. I was in touch with the publisher 2 days ago, and he was sending the final to the printer sometime this week.
Okay.
Cool. Something for Christmas, yeah. So Peter, you know what? You know where I live, and you know Christmas is so.
And you do it with Glenn?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Glenn Helgeland. Yeah. Wonderful.
Communications, I should say.
So Peter, you need to do then the German translation again, right?
We will see. Yeah, maybe we get them back in business.
Yeah, I think it was quite interesting because we have so many German people, they still are not really good in English. And they will say, please, can you do a video in German? Or can you bring the book in German? They struggle, but they would be very interested. So I think it's not the biggest market, but a very interested market. So that's why I think would be nice.
Well, this time too, we're already looking at doing an ebook.
Okay.
Yeah. Good idea.
Makes sense. Yeah.
It makes sense for people in Austria and Germany. Rather than wait to
I like books, you know, I like copy. I like to have it in my hands. I'm old school. But of course,
understood.
Yes, it can be a little less priced than the soft cover. So there's a target group for ebooks. I think so.
A big one.
It'll be less money, of course. Than
Great.
I'm not into that part. That's beyond my pay grade there.
And thank you for the greetings, Cody. You met Cody last time at your show, and he sent us your regards, and now we shall send his regards to you again. So why don't you talk directly to each other? You need a guy in Austria and in Malta to. No, I'm joking. Cody sends his regards.
Yeah, yeah.
Cody's
He,
a
know,
good guy.
he knows a lot about archery history, Cody. He's a nice collecting old stuff and so on. I like him.
Mm. He's an interesting person.
Yep. And Byron, do you also plan to make a new DVD or kind of video lessons or so?
Not at this time. Right now, we're focused on the book, getting it published, and then we'll see what comes next.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And how about live appearances? Has it started again? The shows, hunting shooting shows.
We did most of the usual shows this year, with the exception of Michigan was out and Illinois is out. And we were going to do one in Monroe, Louisiana, and it was canceled at the last minute. But it's rescheduled. We're doing all those this spring. So
nice.
So things going back to normal.
Pretty much as normal as it gets in the States anymore. It's pretty crazy.
Same here.
Politics is just guys are nuts.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. But what can we do? We have to deal with it.
Well, that's the only thing you can do. And then
Byron, you told me that you put also a chapter of your travels and kind of adventures into the new book. That sounds good
that
idea.
was one of the big requests we had from people was, where have you been? What have you done? So we added a lot of that as much as I can remember.
It would be already material for a complete different book, I guess. Your whole travels and shows and stuff.
When you get my age, once you sleep, everything just kind of goes away and you start over again the next morning. So.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, great.
So, I have prepared some questions. If you would be so kind to answer them as best as you like and can.
What's your shoe size? No, I'm joking. That was not the question.
If I don't know the answer, I'll make up one.
Yeah, as usual.
As usual.
I thought our viewers would be very interested how you would describe or work out the steps of a perfect shot. What is for one shot? Was it your idea of when the shooting process begins? Is it when you go to the shooting line, or how you start and how?
Oh, now he froze. And Byron froze too. Hello?
You feel it.
So now back again. Good. You froze a bit?
No, I think you are, man.
I froze. Oh, my internet connection is unstable. Yes. Seriously. Okay. Good. Fine. I'm back.
Instability is bad for a good shot.
But you see all these running and jumping archers like Lars Andersen. Even here he splits another arrow. Just joking. Yes, the perfect shot or yeah.
Okay, perfect shot. First, of course, you look for the center of the bullseye, not the whole bullseye. It's like you don't shoot at the whole animal, you pick a spot. You don't shoot at the whole bullseye, you pick the center of the bullseye to shoot at. Then you visualize the arrow in flight hitting that spot. Right? From that point on, it's a matter of doing what you just imagined in your mind, what you just saw in your mind. That arrow fly, you pull, anchor, release, shoot that arrow in that same flight, and it hits the center of the bullseye. You know where it's going to hit before you release because you've already seen it do it.
Yeah,
sounds very simple.
Archery is very, very simple till you start analyzing, and it gets difficult.
I don't know. I always say to my students, when you're at I call it the shooting line or the place you start your shot, never look away, what you say, from the spot, and knock the arrow while you're looking on the spot. Don't look at the quiver and the arrow and the bow and something, but just stay on the spot.
Yeah.
So you have longer time to focus, is in my opinion.
It's like I just said, Peter, you concentrate on the center of the bullseye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at anything else.
Yeah.
Only the center of the bullseye.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
If you look away, then, or if you even see stuff in peripheral vision, somebody over here moving around. If you notice that, just stop, and start over.
Yep.
You shouldn't notice anything in peripheral. You should be totally focused on the spot. To give you an exercise to do to prove that point to you. Light a candle at night and all the lights out, and you shoot at the candlelight. So there's no extraneous information coming in from the side. You don't see any peripheral, only that spot of light. And see how good a group you can shoot doing that.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Did this once, and then with the second arrow, I blew the candle out there, but all the arrows, nice tight grouping. Of course, you have a center to focus on. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so we need to shoot more candles. A bit focused.
But you see the lot with archers, they're looking around before the shot or even during drawing and so on. That's very crazy.
This is it, but this I saw it often. They stand and then they start drawing, and in the last moment the eyes they flinch somewhere else and then look to the target back for some, I don't know what reason that is, but many have this. Listen, you simply need to look there. It's eye-hand coordination. When you don't look there, where shall where shall the hand know what to do when you don't look there?
Or what I also detected with some students, they are right, like we talk about looking at the spot and so on. And at the last moment, they look at the arrow point and look at the spot and look at the arrow point and they like to estimate if it's right or not. And so, and I think that's also a horrible thing.
No, the way we shoot without sights, that will not work. Never will that work.
I always say they don't trust their senses. They don't trust their spot, their focus.
That's part of it. And part of it is they don't trust, if you're shooting outdoors at an unknown distance, you'll second guess yourself as to whether you're shooting the correct distance or not. Was that 20 yards or was that 25 yards? That it's the last instant you said, it might have been 25 and you shoot high.
That's true. But it's mostly what I experience. These are the females. They have this need for control. And if you tell them, don't look at the arrow, only look at your target, and then they still try. I didn't look at the arrow. I said, yes, I can see it. You shot that high over the center, so you were aiming with the arrow. No, I did not. But once they get it, then it's fine. But I think it's a control mechanism of the ego mind, and they are not used to it anymore nowadays. They lost a little sense for this instinctive or intuitive or however you call it.
You see, we are able to make a lot of words out of a simple thing, as Byron says, is with 3 sentences which hit the point, the spot.
Focus at the center of the bullseye.
Of the message.
Nice,
Great,
That goes for whatever you're shooting at. Whether you're shooting a bullseye on a target, or you're shooting a 3D animal target, or whether you're shooting at a real animal. It's always the same. You pick a spot and pick the center of the spot.
I still see this when your wife throws the aspirin, that you see the center of the aspirin.
The center of an aspirin tablet is exactly the same size as the center of a beach ball.
That's
you always use the center.
The center is the same size. Yeah, that's true.
That's right.
Exactly. Center is always the same size. Yeah, it makes your life easy. Kids gets a little pressure off you because the size of the center is always the same, no matter what size the target is. Makes sense. That's wisdom.
Sounds kind of Japanese, Zen Buddhistic or somehow.
Another way of saying it is aim small, miss small.
Exactly. Nice. Great.
So I don't have here a special order of the questions. I my second one would be, what for you is the most important thing with arrows? What would you look for if you say that's a good arrow, that's a well-made arrow, or what is important with arrows for you?
Everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's no one thing that overrides another as far as arrow selection. One of the most important, of course, is a straight arrow.
Yeah.
I mean, duh, it's got to be straight. And then it's got to be of a proper spine weight, proper stiffness. And then it's got to be, this arrow has to weigh the same as the next arrow.
Yeah.
And so it's all, what you're looking for is consistency, particularly with arrows. Arrows can mess you up so bad.
Yeah.
And that mess with your mind. Because you think when you go buy a dozen or half dozen carbon arrows that they're all going to be straight, they're all going to be the same stiffness, and they're all going to weigh the same. Wrong. They will not. None of them.
Yeah.
So when you hear people say they shoot the same as wood, well, they do. You know, just like wood, you have to spine and weigh every cotton picking one up.
That's true.
Make sure you've got consistent arrows.
Even if 400 spine is written on it, when you measure them, they are always like from 350 to 450. Yeah, of course.
A dozen, there may be one that's 400. So it's important to spine them, weigh them, spine them, and then shoot or bare shaft. That's what I call it. When you shoot an arrow, and I've proved this with high-speed photography, the first thing that happens when you shoot, the arrow bends around the riser. As it leaves the bow, it bends in the opposite direction. When you superimpose them together, it does this. You have lines that they cross. Those lines are called node points. The reason it's important for the viewers to understand this, it makes no difference whatsoever where you aim. 100% of the time, the arrow will fly to where those node points are aligned. So that's why it's important to have the arrows consistently, consistent to each other. Then you bare shaft them and get those node points aligned to where they're going straight to the target. Makes it a whole lot easier to hit the bullseye when that's where it naturally wants to go anyway.
Yeah, I understand. Makes sense.
I heard you switched back to aluminum arrows because of the inconsistency of the carbon arrows.
I've got plenty of aluminum on hand. Yes, I do.
Byron, I don't know. I'm sure you heard the story from Mr. Howard Hill when he erected a kind of cardboard box and he tested his arrows, and the arrow that hit the box he took and then he shot them again and so on. Is it true that they back then had no spine testers? Or when did the spine testers come up for the wooden arrows? Do you know about?
And I'm not sure of. I don't know.
Because that sounds like that, no? That sounds like if they were unspined.
I do know that Mr. Hill had the ability to bend the arrow and decide what spine it was by just bending it in his hands. And yes, he did shoot arrows into the target, and the ones that flew consistently out of the bullseye, break them, throw them. Okay, get rid of them. And it's hard to, when you pay a lot of money for arrows and you work to get them all sorted and fletched and ready to go, it's hard to break it digitally, throw it away. But that's what he would do.
Yeah, well.
Are you sure he didn't sell them?
Maybe he gave them to a competition.
Nice.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, is there more to arrows? If maybe one could say with the spine, you have to think about the weight of the heads, points you like to shoot, because this will weaken the shaft if you use heavy hunting points, hunting heads or so.
You don't want to get too terrible heavy on the nose with the point. To fly, nose low, unless you have something in particular you're trying to accomplish by doing that. For one of the impossible shots I did on TV, I had to shoot a BB. It's a .17 size BB for an air rifle off the top of a golf tee.
Okay.
Without knocking the golf tee over.
Nice.
So the arrow was flying nose low. I put 190 grain field point on there so it would fly nose low. Just picked it right off the top of the golf tee.
Yeah, of course.
The golf tee still sat there. Could I do it again? Probably not. But yeah, it's a good story.
Yeah, of course, but it did it.
I got photographic evidence to prove it.
Nice.
In general, and I know you do too, I prefer the heavier points over the lighter ones. So simply
My
said.
favorite hunting head is the Simmons Interceptor, which weighs 190 grains. It has a concave cutting surface. It's just an awesome broadhead. If you hit one through the boiler room with it and he gets out of sight, then you didn't have it sharp enough.
It makes wands like a big bullet. I have seen some photographs of exit wands of these horrible ones.
I don't want to be shot with one of them.
No. What about fletching? What do you prefer, or what do you think is important with the fletching?
Depends on what you're going to do with that arrow. Fletching can be related to hand loading ammunition for a rifle. Obviously, if you're going to go hunt small game, you don't need a 270 for small game. Versus if you're going to hunt elk, you don't want a 22 to hunt elk with. So you fletch your arrows depending on what you're going to do with that particular arrow. And the best guess as to what your environmental conditions are going to be. If you're going to be in wind or rain or what. Example, here in the eastern part of the United States, our forests are fairly thick. So in this part of the country, we use larger fletching to clean the arrow up quickly so that it limbs and stuff on the way to the target. When you get farther out to the west, the forests are very thin and to the point where there aren't no forests, it's just open grassland. But you have a lot of wind. So you don't want those large feathers because they're like a vein. Because you're going to drift. So you put smaller feathers on in that case to avoid the wind drift. So again, it depends on what you're going to do.
That's interesting.
And also the type of material you're putting it on. Carbon arrows can be overcorrected easily. So you don't want a very large feather on a carbon arrow.
What do you consider large feathers? 5-6 inch, or what was this for you?
5.5 magnums.
Okay.
Or
is the height is more the length or more the height important of the feather?
Well, they're the 5.5 inch magnums are banana cut.
Well, the parabolic.
They're fairly high. I think best I can remember, like 5/8 of an inch. They're high at the apex.
Okay.
I think this banana cut is also favorable in wet weather because there's some kind of feather staying if they are wet, no, when it's kind of raining or so.
Yeah, particularly if you have them on wooden arrows. So, but also you get the powder now that you can put on them to keep them dry. So.
And you all fletch your arrows helical, or it's also depending for what you use them? What for your?
I always fletch as much helical as I can get. In my case, left wing. I prefer left wing helical and really wrap it as much as I can get on there.
And why left wing instead of right wing?
That's like the rifling in a barrel. The faster that bullet spins, the more accurate it'll be. The faster the arrow spins, the more accurate it will be.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And these big feathers and so are also important on stage work, because here you have short distance, the arrow has to be straight in a short distance. So you need relatively big fletching. No?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And visibility, I guess, that the audience can see the arrow nice flying, because it's still quite a fast object. And with big white bright feathers, you see it easier in the flight, I guess. Especially for cameras, because when you do filming and then you have some small fletching dark, you don't see the arrow anymore at all. When you have them white big, then you see something white going through the frame. So, yeah.
In some of the old movie clips from Mr. Hill, I saw he had kind of semi flu fletch for the movie works. It was kind of lower flu cut.
Yeah, he had several different fletchings that he used, again, depending on what he was doing that particular shaft.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So
Arrows.
Something more interesting about arrows? How many arrows do you are you taking with you when you go out hunting? One.
I lie.
Yeah, you only need one, right?
Of course. Sorry for the question.
It depends on which quiver I carry with me.
Yeah.
If I put all in, the quiver will hold.
Okay.
Normally, I'll have five or six arrows with me when I'm going hunting. I'll have one that's dedicated with what's called a judo point, for stump shooting.
Yeah. For some preparation shots.
Just playing.
Yeah. And you prefer then the back quiver, or you have your bow quiver, or what's your preferred way of having?
No, I don't use the back quiver for hunting big game.
Okay.
It's fine for small game. And big game is just something else you're moving around. It will draw attention to you.
Yeah.
I use again a Simmons Bushmaster, which is a cylinder. It's like a rotary magazine. The arrows fit inside the cylinder and they rotate.
Okay.
Right on your side.
Nice. That's it.
And it keeps the arrows completely enclosed. So again, advantage of that, I like to shoot brightly colored fletching, particularly white. When I'm hunting deer, so I can see where the arrow hits. But white in the deer woods is not a good idea, especially when the gun season's open. Somebody might see that white flickering and decide it's a deer tail and shoot you.
Yes.
So, either that quiver or when I go out west or up north, where I'm going to be gone all day. See, around here, we hunt in the mornings and we come back and eat lunch and mess around and go back in the afternoons. When you go out west or go up north into Canada, it's an all-day deal. You leave before daylight, you don't get back till after dark. So in that case, I'll carry what's called a cat quiver. It's a backpack. Holds arrows in it.
Yeah.
You pack your lunch and your water and just all kind of way too much stuff you get in that thing.
Yep.
It's heavy.
But also the fletching is protected under that backpack. It's a nice thing. I think I have one. Because you said with the white feathers when you're hunting whitetail or so, I always say to my students, use the brightest fletching white or what you can get, because also in training and exercising, they are more visible, so your brain can make a kind of program because you see the arrow in flight. Don't use dark feathers or so you can see after the shot.
Well, what happens too, a lot of times when they use the duller type colors on the fletching, they will drop the bow looking for the arrow, trying to see the arrow fly. And that's, of course, I tell them, all you're going to see is a bad shot, so don't bother doing that. You got to hold the bow still till the arrow hits the target. And with white fletching or brightly colored fletching, you can still see the arrow in peripheral vision, even though you're locked onto the target. You see the arrow going to the target.
And you see the ballistics, the arc of the arrow, so that your brain can check it.
That's important.
It matches what you visioned.
Back then, I think in the 90s or so and earlier, they had this kind of feather traces on the back end of the fletching. No, it was also for visibility. No,
still do. They still make them. Gateway, you can go some gateway feathers.
Makes sense. Nice. Good. Arrows.
One thing a lot of people are talking about is the bow hand position, the hand position on the bow grip. Some say make it like that or make it like that. What's your opinion about that, Byron?
It's got to be repeatable.
Yeah.
It's the same every way. I mean, I don't care if you like a broomstick handle, that's fine on me. You know, as long as you can repeat it. For me, I tend to shoot with my hand a little bit, not straight, but a little bit like this. And so I form my grips to wrap around the bow, where when I put my hand on the bow, I don't have to think about it. That's the position it's in.
Yeah. Maybe I'd say not a too tight grip, in my opinion.
No, that's a fallacy that a lot of people come up with because of a statement that Mr. Hill made.
Yeah.
And they misunderstood. When someone asked him how tightly to hold the bow or how to hold the bow, he said the bow should be held as if in a vice. They took that to mean you should get a death grip on the bow.
Yeah.
That was not at all what he was talking. He was talking about the bow should be held on target as if in a vice.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
A firm grip, but not tight. It's like yeah.
Correct.
Makes sense.
Tight enough to keep him jumping out of your hand. If you get too tight, you're going to have elbow problems.
Yeah.
Squeeze it too much, it's going to start creating what we call tennis elbow. Hurts like the devil. I'm telling you, I've done it before.
Yeah. Okay.
I also think that people, they are telling about hand shock with a longbow. So I think they all have a too tight grip and a too locked arm, or I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, too tight of a grip, and like you said, with the arm extended all the way. Don't extend all the way out just before full extension stop.
Yeah, maybe raising the shoulder like that, and that all causes that bow shock, I think. I mean, don't you have any questions?
For me, it would be interesting. What are your favorite features, or what does a bow for you need to have to be your favorite bow? Because we have always discussions. This is the best, or this is what's the best bow for you?
Now you're breaking my heart.
Oh, sorry.
I've got to admit,
Seriously?
I had the magic bow.
Of course you have.
This bow was so sweet. And I'm being honest with you now. I shot the bow probably 25 times.
Okay.
Tuning, getting ready for hunting. All the shots were in the bullseye. It never got out of the bullseye. What the distance. And then a guy came and bought my bow. I sold the bow.
Jesus Christ.
So now I got to build another one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Wow.
I can't remember what I did.
But it was one of them.
It was one of a kind.
And one of them both.
The bow should be a relatively wide limb. If you make the real narrow limbs, they get a little finicky. Don't like that.
Yeah.
So relatively wide, usually about a 1 1/4 inch wide at the base, down to about a 1/2 inch at the string groove. And then I will taper the core thickness 3/1000ths per inch. I do that by having the belly lamination tapers 2/1000ths per inch. The back lamination tapers 1/1000ths per inch.
Okay.
And then I'll have the filler lamination will just be parallels.
I understand.
The riser section is in the center of the bow. The shaft will be 2 1/4 inches above center. Other than that, I mean, it's just a matter then of the tiller, tilting the bow. And I've been playing a lot lately with different tillers. It seems to be either I used to till everything 1/4 of an inch for me shooting split fingers. And then I started shooting lately with a 1/8 tiller. And that seemed to to lessen that gap you see between the arrow and the target, seemed to be less. So I actually made one with a positive tiller. So the top limb being stronger than the bottom limb.
Okay.
Shot fine, but I couldn't tell that much difference in the gap. So it seemed to be about the same, but for me about 15 inches. 20 yards. So, but I'm always looking for a way to lessen that gap.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh.
And what is your preferred limb material?
Bamboo.
Mine too.
It's heat-tempered bamboo. You can't beat it.
Yeah. It's so light and so springy. It's a good material. Yeah. Mr. Hill found out. we talked in the past about it, and I don't know what's your opinion about. I think Mr. Hill came to that ideas because of that bamboo fly rod makers. They did a lot of tempering the bamboo and making it very springy, and so I think he had an eye on the fly rod makers. No,
I'm sure he did. I know Fred Bear loved to fly fish. And I'm sure Mr. Hill probably did also. So they were, that limb tip action, how far that limb tip lays back, and the cast is very similar to what we're doing with bows. That limb tip to lay back more. And that's again why I taper the limbs 3,000 per inch for more limb tip action. Get that limb tip laid back farther, but yet I've still got the weight and the cast that I'm looking for.
Yep.
And handle, you prefer heavy wood in the handle, or is it?
Yes, heavy wood.
As heavy as possible. Which wood you prefer there?
Most of the bows I've made in the past couple of years have had the Wenge. It's spelled Wgnge, but pronounced Wenge.
Okay.
Wenge. Yeah.
Wenge. Okay. Dark and heavy. It's quite dense wood. Yeah.
It's almost ebony.
The kind of ebony, I think, no?
Yes. Some people call it Brazilian ebony.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Good. And fast flat string, right? Or normal string? What string material?
I use BCY product is the 97. I think it's 97. It is the original Fast Flight.
Yeah. Okay.
Fast Flight came out from Brownell, and they changed it and started doing different stuff and called it Fast Flight Plus. But the 97 from BCY was the original.
Okay. Nice. Good.
We had a little about this before, from this question, because I asked you how many arrows do you carry when you're hunting. For our viewers, what is your every hunting day carry kit? What are you carrying with you except the arrows and the bow when you're out bow hunting? What kind of tools or stuff do you carry with you?
I carry a backpack. In my backpack, I have binoculars, rangefinder, a wood saw, pruning shears, and then something to eat and drink. Usually like a protein bar and a bottle of water. So that's pretty much my standard. Oh, a skinning knife. And of course a flashlight.
Yeah. And do you carry a file for resharpening the broadheads?
No, I carry enough broadheads. I don't have to resharpen in the field. I'll just get another one. Unless we're pig hunting. Now, if we're pig hunting, yes. But pig hunting is like small game hunting. Maybe you're going to shoot so many arrows, you'll have to resharpen some.
I understand. Yeah.
Right.
And some
first aid kit or something? I was just asking. First aid kit, something? Nothing? Some bandage or something?
Well, it depends. When I'm deer hunting around here, I'm not that far from a doctor. No matter 15 minutes, I can be in a hospital. If I'm out west or up north in Canada, yes, we carry a little first aid kit, with some aspirin and some elastic bandage and band-aids and that kind of stuff. nothing really major.
Tough guys.
Interesting.
Don't need this stuff.
I do carry a snake bite kit.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Have you ever needed to use it?
No. No.
Fortunately.
No, thank goodness. But we have large rattlesnakes, and also have one called the copperhead. Copperhead's a mean little devil. He's not very big, but he's ferocious. He will bite you just for the fun of it.
I think I saw it in the past in that catalogs, so they had kind of snake-proof trousers and so on in some areas. Snake bite-proof. Yeah, and snake boots.
Yeah, I wear the snake boots. They're knee-high, snake-proof boots. But you know, you sit down on a log or put your hand down or something and get bit. So
Well,
another reason why I'm waiting for the weather to cool off before I go.
And do you also carry a kind of mascot or talisman or something, you know, the kind of good medicine for the hunt like the old Indians did?
No.
His head, your head.
No. I send my bow down to New Orleans to have one of the voodoo queens put mojo on it.
A voodoo bow.
No, I don't do anything.
But your head is your mascot, so to say.
That was for Peter's enjoyment.
Voodoo bow.
I'm quite through with my questions. I mean,
no, I was only wanted to know about the bow, but what's for you the most important features of the bow? Because it's always my viewers always are into bow and bow building, and you know they're always curious about these things.
The bow and arrows has to work together.
Exactly.
So again, the thing that makes archery work, and what separates a good archer from a great archer, is consistency. The more consistent you are in every aspect of your equipment and your form, the better you're going to shoot. It's just that simple.
And of course, it's also the basics of confidence, because if you're confident that your equipment is perfect, there's no bad arrow in your quiver and so on, you are confident and you walk to your
you have to have all that
business.
That is, we talked when we first started talking about the new book and the chapter on target panic. I came to realize that all target panic really is the lack of confidence.
I think so. Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You were a good shooter at one time, and then you lost your confidence. Something happened to cause you to lose it. So in order to get over it, you got to regain your confidence.
And when it happens, you don't realize the point when you lose it.
That's correct. You don't know what's happening.
Don't know. Interesting.
You realize when the target panic catches you, then you know something is wrong. Yeah.
That's correct.
Well,
and I found after a lot of thinking, a lot of talking to other people, I came to realize that all it is just loss of confidence. Get your confidence back, target panic goes away.
Byron, so you should sell a kind of small bottle of kind of snake oil with the target panic cure with the book, no?
We could call it TP, toilet paper.
TP oil.
Hey.
Don't say it twice. Maybe he has an idea.
Hey, why not?
Nice.
And what caused how did you lose your confidence? Because you said in the last show that you had experienced target panic. So what was it then exactly with you?
It was a little different in that I was getting lucky. I was shooting and not really putting forth a lot of effort in it. I'd call it just flipping, just shoot, and it hit the target. And then I did that, and I didn't hit the target. I said, "Oh my God, what are we going to do now?" You know?
Okay.
So that was what happened to me. It was a gradual thing. I just got sloppier and sloppier and sloppier in my
and still hitting, sloppier and still hitting,
but
and
still hitting. Yeah.
But then it got to the point I got so bad I couldn't hit anymore. So I had to do something.
Okay.
And then you found out target panic really exists. Nice.
And he was double shocked because it happened to him. He never thought that it would happen to him.
It happens only to targets, to crazy target archers, not to me.
Yeah, we always thought it's an Olympic archer thing, that they overtrain themselves and then they stand in front and that they really have no idea what they're doing anymore. But it can happen to us too.
Oh, it can happen to anybody. It can happen to anybody that cares about their shooting.
Exactly.
If you don't care about it,
then you will never have target panic.
It won't happen to you. But if you care, and the more you care, the more likely you are at some point in your career to develop target panic.
I understand.
I have to confess, back then, before you told me that story, Byron, when someone said something about target panic, I said, listen, if you don't know about target panic, you can't get it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not target panic, because targets don't panic me. I'm not afraid of a target. I can lay down and go sleep right next to a target. Doesn't bother me at all. I used to say it was fear of missing, and that really wasn't it either.
Yeah, you don't feel secure in the during the shot. No?
You've lost your confidence. That's all it is. So you got to get your confidence back.
Yeah, fear of missing. When the doesn't change, then it can only be the fear of missing, of course. When you still shoot the same equipment, there's nothing changing. So then it's only you, and then it can only be the fear of missing, lack of confidence. Then, well, yeah, and as long as you care, you can experience it. So a good archer should or is more prone to experience target panic.
Yes, that's correct.
Now Byron says, if someone's talking about target panic, you don't care about archery if you don't believe it.
Exactly. No, I was just wondering because Peter never had target panic, so.
Well, hell, Peter can't shoot good anyway, so.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, I just had to say that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Byron, you remember when we shot with Henry Bodnick?
Yes.
And they draw you out of the airplane and throw you in the woods and so on, and it was quite not so easy. And Byron walked by and was really angry, and I said, Byron, there's different air pressure over there in the United States than in Germany. And he said, air pressure? Shut up.
Yeah.
So these heavy hunter shafts are not available any longer?
No, I haven't had any contact with the bearpaw in a while now. Three Rivers Archery here in the States still has them listed in their book, in their catalog. They may have bought up what they had left. I don't know anything about it anymore. I'm out of the loop.
Yeah, there were a lot of changes with bearpaw. I mean, I was a while their reseller here in Malta, but I'm not anymore. When Henry left the active business, and then I don't know, some youngsters took over, and I don't know, things change.
Yeah, that's I think some of his stepchildren.
Yep.
They're nice guys. I met them at the ATA show.
Sure.
Real nice guys.
Yeah.
I wish them all the best.
Yeah.
Always.
I made me a set of arrows. I love to shoot wooden arrows, cedar arrows, and so. But as you said, I made me a set of arrows of the Eastern Legacy you also are using, and they really shot well. Those were really good arrows. And what I like with that shaft is you can put on the glue-on nocks you can use with the 1132's wooden shaft. So I can use that old Mercury knocks and some that stuff I like to use with the big index and so on. These are good shafts. Yeah.
Cool.
So I need to test the aluminum arrows. Huh?
Yeah. Also, that Nederland guy Magen I influenced with that. He made him a set of these Eastern Legacy arrows. I said, "Oh wow, great! They fly great." Yeah, and I don't know. It's a different production than an carbon arrow, so they're more similar. They're more unique. No, more.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, we're with carbons.
They're always the same, shaft to shaft.
Yeah,
and they make them since the 1940s or so. I think so. No?
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah. So they know about arrow shifting.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think since China took over in carbon arrow production, quality is still losing a little. So you get, I don't know, they splinter easy, they break easy, or sometimes they have a slightly crack and you don't see it and you shoot it and the arrow explodes in your face. It's like really horror stories, you know, with aluminum. An aluminum arrow will bend. Yeah, okay, then most probably you can throw it away, but at least you don't harm yourself with it. So.
And you don't have that fibers and so on.
Yeah, I had once this experience that a carbon arrow exploded while I shot and the fibers went through my finger. It was not so nice when you see the other carbon strands coming out, like, yeah, nice.
And the aluminum shafts are also easier to cut with with the tube cutter. It's no problem with the carbon arrows. You need a high speed kind of saw to cut them really nice and so on.
Yeah. So but they overall a bit heavier, right? More like compared to wood arrows, aluminum arrows. Because what I like, because at our range we had these snake bows with 22 pounds, 26 pounds. And of course, when you have then a nice 29-inch 600 spine carbon shaft or 800 spine carbon shaft, they fly nice and fast from a weak bow. I'm not sure if an aluminum shaft is.
I think you would find the right shaft also for this light bows.
Need to get more into this.
Because they make target shafts also, so they should have a weak spine, no, Byron? I think so.
Yeah, they make some. I think the lightest one I've seen like 1,000 carbon, and then on the aluminum you get those little bitty. We call them knitting needles.
Yeah, flying strict needles. Yeah, I just got some from. I don't have them here from America. Some of these thin carbon arrows. They are nice, but I don't like them. This is for me. It's not an arrow. I can't help. I would give them to my mom here, needle me a jumper or something, but weird. Yeah.
Okay.
And I shot them. Was it today or yesterday? I shot them and did a slow motion. And I had these, they are 34 inches long. I shot them, of course, from a horse bow, and they were quite heavy outserts on it. And then the tip on it, so the front part was quite heavy. And in a slow motion, you could really see what this arrow, it was a 600 spine compared to another 600 spine with normal is, I don't know. This is, when you maximize things straight for performance, I'm not sure if this is the right way.
Yeah, it's amazing when you watch archery tackle actually being shot. It's a wonder it stays together. The bow's flopping everywhere and the arrow's bending this way.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's amazing that you hit something with that stuff.
But they flex, but I still hit the center with it. But this when you see the arrow flying, then in slow motion, you think, holy God, it's like drunk, but it still hit the center. Kind more or less, not the center of the center, but the center.
It was an Austrian guy who made a clip on YouTube, with Heinz Hoffmann, him, Byron, who was with me in Germany, with the high-speed cam, and he made it with wooden arrows, and you wouldn't believe how they are bent around the bow like a snake. They don't broke. He did it, the spine softer and softer and softer until it was on the border to break, on the point they will break, but it was unbelievable. Like a loop around the bow and then they fly away. Interesting, interesting. One more question I have, Byron. Do you ever had or never had the idea to try a recurve bow for your work or for bow hunting?
I started out in my younger days. I shot recurve bows. The difference is for hunting, I was what we called average at the time. For every 5 opportunities, I would get 1 deer. With a longbow, for every 5 opportunities, I get 5 deer.
Okay.
That's the difference. So longbows are just more forgiving. They're just easier to shoot.
Yeah.
And as you wrote in your great Become the Arrow book, you can't torque the longbow like a recurve bow. A recurve bow you can twist so the spring will the string will spring off out of the notches. No.
Right.
Yeah. And there's more energy to the arrow, in my opinion, because there's nothing wobbling like with a recurve bow, less vibrations and so on. So more energies on the arrow than
and two, it's like, you know, it's the difference between a bench rest rifle or a hunting rifle. I would relate a recurve with the long stabilizers and the sights and everything, like an Olympic recurve, to being a bench rest rifle. You know, something that you could actually drive tacks with. But I don't want to hunt with the thing. I want to hunt with a longbow or recurve, hunting recurve.
And all these compound things never occurred to you that you think you need to shoot that compound when you go hunting?
I tried to kill a deer with a compound bow for 8 years, and I missed every one I ever shot at. So, if I wanted more challenge, I'd shoot a compound.
Of course, it's easier, right? That's why they developed them.
Of course, it was the bow. No.
Yeah, in this case, it was the bow. Yes, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. It's a different feeling. I mean, I have this old one, this brown bear. With this one, I started archery 40 years ago. So that was my first bow I got in my hands, and this guy said, "Yeah, this is target there for archery. I have some arrows," and I started shooting like an idiot. And I didn't know better. But once I got rid of this one, I never had a compound anymore.
And you know, when you're out hunting with a longbow or doing some things with a longbow, you always have Mr. Howard Hill watching over your shoulder and say, you do it nice, boy, you do it nice. It's a kind of different feeling, no? To me.
Yes, and when you shoot the way we shoot, this projection that you're looking for when you're projecting through the shaft to the target, that's part of you. You're projecting yourself to the target.
Yeah.
So it's more personal than shooting a compound.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice word, yeah. More personal.
Nice.
Cool. Great.
So we're unhappy because you can't ask us anything because you know more than we know.
Yeah, he knows everything, and we just like suck up his knowledge like a sponge.
It's like on one of the videos I did called "Tuning for Extreme Accuracy," and it was very well accepted, and then we did good with it. And then this one guy gets on the computer and he's, just terrible. I didn't learn a thing on that. I knew all of that stuff already. And I said, I know you're lying because I just made half that stuff up.
Yeah, that's Byron Ferguson. Yeah. The legend.
Is there anything new with television, cable networks or something like shooting?
The outdoor television business is pretty much a dying breed right now. So everybody's going after the same companies to be sponsors, and it's just not going to work. So don't know. I mean, Jim Scouting and the Shooting USA crew is still going strong. They're doing good. Other than that, I couldn't tell you. I don't know anything about the rest of them.
Last month, one German television station, they want to make a new show, and they sent me a clip of a guy. He has 3 targets and he shots at 1 targets, like this crossbow guy, and there are compound bows fixed at the target. They shoot at each other target, and the last arrow he catches from the air. But if I can do something like that, but I don't like to do something like that.
Yeah, that's
and you should develop a kind of trick, a kind of show element, and they don't like to pay you for this. They like you to come over and, okay, you make this, you develop the trick and make it. They don't like to pay you a lot.
that's like I'm at the age now that I don't have to do it anymore. I can pick and choose. And it's like I'm not going to Russia. I'm not going to China. I ain't going to Mexico either. Some places I'm not going. And for no amount of money, I'm just not going to do it. And the same thing here in the States. There's some cities here in the States that have asked me to come and do shows. And I said, well, for that, I'd have to have this much money. Ooh, we can't pay that. I said, well, thank you. Bye.
Which cities? Tell us.
It's like, we're not going to talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, but it's like this. I had this too once, a TV, they called me, they saw Lars Andersen shooting this arrow around the corner. Then they asked me if I can do this, and then they can invite me in the show and blah, 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 and said, yes, of course I can do it. And then, can you show us footage of it? Of course, you have then on the front of the arrow extra feathers that the arrow has this aerodynamic. Otherwise, it's not going to work, that an arrow makes 180-degree turn. And then it was always, this year it has to be canceled. We didn't manage. And then next year, and then nothing ever happened. Said, look, but simply repeating what another one did, it's a little boring,
And they always, it's not enough if you hit the target or something fancy, but they always like the extreme and more extreme and more extreme. And so.
Because they want to see you fail.
That's easy. That's easy. Byron, have you ever seen that young guy, that James Jean from Georgia, making these trick shots on the range?
On the computer.
Pardon?
I've seen him on the computer, yeah.
Yeah. Amazing, no? Amazing guy.
What he's doing is amazing if he's, on the computer, But, I mean, it's like with Mr. Anderson. Do it live.
Yeah, do it on the show and 1,000 people watch you. Yeah.
I'll see you do it live.
Yeah.
If you can't make yourself look good with a video camera, then you're not very good.
Yeah. But he's an honest guy. We had him on the show, and he said he's trying a lot. Every shot he has to try a lot, of course, and that's what you say. It's a different, and it's always what I'm always saying. It's a different thing to make it somewhere on stage, or in front of a camera in your backyard.
Well,
and then you only show the good shots. You only show when you really hit.
Of course. Yeah.
It's a little different ball game when you. My last exhibition was in Michigan, up about 100 miles north of Detroit, Imlay City. And on Saturday, we probably had 1,200 or 1,500 people in the audience. And, you feel the pressure then.
Yeah.
You don't have 100 shots to get this done. You got to do it and do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to hit the first time, but you better hit within 2 or 3 shots.
Yeah, that's 100% true, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, I never had that big audience, but I had maybe 150 people, but then you feel it when they all look at you and you explain, and you feel the difference. Of course, when you stand alone with your camera, nobody cares, and you have as many tries as you need, and whatever, it's no problem. And then you show simply your success, fine. But when you stand there and you really, the first shot needs to hit, otherwise they think you, what instructor are you? You know, you can't even hit the center.
And we talked about what was this James Jean also is, he's a nice movie maker. He makes good cuts, good perspectives and good pictures. And so he makes a good job, I like to say, yeah.
But he needs to go on stage. But you forced him already. You said in his hometown there is surely some city hall and you can organize some.
Yeah, we talked him into going on stage.
You don't start with 1,000 people audience. You start with 20 or whatever with your friends that you get used to it. How did you, were your first show? You remember your first show, Byron?
Yeah, first show was at Lakes Archery, about 3 miles from where I'm sitting right now. There might have been 50 people there at the most, probably not that many.
And how was it? Stage fright? You were nervous, or how was it?
Well, I knew all of them. Yeah, it was
of course.
a archery shot. I knew all these guys. I shot with them, and we just hanging out, playing.
Nice.
So it wasn't any pressure.
Not a big deal for you.
Show. I just shot some arrows. And that was about it. The big finale. We're shooting a 25-cent piece out of the air, which was a cool shot, but
like nothing. Look at him, like nothing. 20% piece out of the air, nothing. I mean, like I don't even see it. You know, like how can I hit it when I don't see it? But this, I always quote you, Byron, when somebody has a problem not hitting it. Byron Ferguson always said, "What you can see, you can hit. You see the center there, yes, then you can hit it," because Byron said so. No, so it's not me. I blame always you, Byron. That's why you was probably sometimes ringing because.
I laughed at guys in Brazil. I did a show down in Brazil a few years ago, and they had a big poster said Byron Ferguson. If he can see it, he can hit it. You know, ... And he has really good eyes.
Yes, true.
Yeah. But I gave that hint because you said you shot in front of people, you know. I gave that hint to that James Jean guy and said, try it with your friends first, so you're more secure when you're performing.
Yeah, but even on camera, he could explain something. He doesn't say anything. He does it for Instagram, these 10 seconds things.
Yes,
you know, and then, you know, part of this archery is then entertaining, that you tell the story or something, you say something, what you're doing.
He's producing nice pictures, and that's what he likes to do, and that's okay.
And when it's fine for him like this, it's fine, of course.
Yeah, it's all in what the audience will allow you to do. I'm thinking of a show I did now a couple of years ago, and a gun shooter was going to be there. And I'm excited, man. I want to watch this. He's doing all these cool shots with a rifle. The guy showed up. He didn't have a rifle. He had a video of him shooting a rifle that he put on and showed people some of the shots. He talked about it and told them how good he was, and then he left.
Nice. Yeah, great. If this works too, I can do that. Hey, I can do that.
That's what I'm going to start doing, Peter. I'm just going to plug in a videotape and show them, this is what I did. You know, what I did. I'm good, man. Pay me. I'll see you later.
Have a look, give me the money, and now go. Yeah, nice. No, not bad.
It's like what I did in China. If you have done it once, you don't have to shoot anymore. Look. This James Jean guy, he's more into that Instagram and that modern stuff. We are kind of old school. And it's a different thing. It's a different thing, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, his stage are the social media. So on there, he gets his views. So it's fine for him. Yeah.
And maybe it's better that he don't talk, because some are talking too much in their videos.
True.
Can be. Well.
Okay.
Great.
Byron?
You want to tell us something, Byron? Some joke of the week or something? No?
Time for lunch, yeah.
Oh, time for lunch, yeah, of course.
What do you have for lunch?
You ain't gonna believe it. I have venison.
Oh, okay. You bet. And Wanda is a nice chef, a nice cook.
I'm looking over here now. She got on the table. I have venison. Have a nice salad with some blue cheese dressing.
Oh, and it smells. So we have to leave.
And now I'm hungry too.
So,
Nice.
Byron, so say all the best greets also to Wanda and to the family. And it was so nice to have you on. And
good to see you guys.
Yeah. And maybe
stay in touch.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom again with us. Thank you very much, Byron. Really always pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. See you next time, Byron.
Thank you, sir.
Guys.
Goodbye. Goodbye, Byron.